Swami, Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Guru Vaishnava ki, Namchar Shahridas Thakur ki, Prem Shkahu Shkoshe, Nishidavita Gadara, all the glories and some of the devotees, all the glories and some of the devotees, all the glories and some of the devotees, all the glories of my Guru Sita Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Now, for those of you who are guests to the temple, it is the duty sometimes. What's up with these kids? We have a soccer game going on? Or is that just a stop and trade? Yeah. Because actually it's a serious topic. If this building were on fire, may it never happen. If this building were on fire, and I was announcing the way out, would that be important? Would you listen to them? Would you have your cell phone on? Would you be looking at what's on the pages? Would you be playing with your kids? What would you be doing if this building was on fire, filling up with smoke, and I was telling you the way out? Would I have your attention? What do you think? Would I have your attention? Is that an important subject matter? This material world is on fire. It is described as samsara. It is a fire. Even you take basic physics, you have atoms, molecules rubbing against each other and decaying by friction. Everything in this world is on fire. We should be serious. It's a serious subject matter. Not because I'm speaking. Who cares what I'm saying? But it's a serious subject matter. Now, therefore, in that role, it is my duty to sometimes chastise these young men. So don't think of them. They're all saintly people. They've surrendered their life to Krishna. I take the dust from their feet. I do. But in my role as a teacher, an announcement was made this morning. Come with a question. Was that announcement made? Yes. Now everybody who nodded their head, have you come with a question? No. Why? Please explain to me. Come with a question. That way I know what you were interested. I know what you're thinking about. I know what matters to you. I can talk over here all day long. But I want to know what's in your heart, what you're thinking. And in spite of come with a question, everybody, what were you thinking? The person next to you would come with a question. What were you thinking? Rob, what were they thinking? I want an answer. I'm serious. Don't just give me a smile. Why? Huh? So we have some who have questions. Now that I've come at you with a fiery mood, who is brave enough to ask a question? Because it's not just happy talk, you know? I mean, happy talk is there. It has its place. But it's serious business. I am 66 years old. And just yesterday, I was 16. And I'll be dead and gone. In no time, I'll be dead and gone. Everybody in this the devas, the demigods, were having a jagat. And, you know, swaha, swaha, not all the grains fall in the fire, right? So there was a little bird there. And he was getting a little grains from it. And Maharaj, he kept looking at the bird. So you can imagine if Yamaraj kept looking at you, how would you feel about that? No problem? Would you worry about it? It'd worry me. So the little bird thought, oh geez, Yamaraj giving me the evil eye, what's going on here? So he's from the Padma Purana. So so the little bird goes to Garuda. It says, Garuda, Yamaraj has given me the evil eye. He keeps looking at me, I don't know what to do. Garuda says, what do you want? The little bird says, you put me on your back, you fly me to Mount Sumeru and fly back. He'll never find me there. So Garuda says, all right, get up. Off they go, he comes back. So by the time Garuda gets back, they're serving prasadam. Prabhupada said no function is complete without the distribution of prasadam. So they're all taking prasadam, and Garuda's, you know how we all sit together. So they're Vaishnavas there. So they're sitting there together, and Yamaraj is right next to Garuda. So Garuda says, hey, by the way, why were you scaring this little bird? Someone's got to do something about these kids. Who are the parents of these kids? Yeah, come on. They're much happier. They'll play outside. They can play outside. There's so much room. But they shouldn't run screaming here while we're talking. Whose parents? Where are the parents? No, that kid's no problem. He was no problem. It was the kids running here that were the problem. So anyway, so I didn't mean to offend her. That kid was fine. Who's going to be the ringmaster that watches run? Kids screaming. You can play outside. I raised 2 kids. I know what it's like. You got to take this seriously. Kids out. It's serious stuff. They can play outside happily. What's the problem? Good luck. So, Garuda takes the little bird up to Mount Sumeru. Gets back, takes prasadam, sitting there with Yamaraj. Garuda says, why were you giving the evil eye to my little friend bird? What was the issue? The little bird says, Yamaraj says, no, I was just surprised. I was seeing this little bird here, but I have an appointment with him this afternoon at Mount Sumeru. And I was wondering how was he going to get there. You follow? So, time and tide wait for no one. We have to take it seriously, because before you know it, in the future, I was sitting in Prabhupada's room one time, and a man was saying, oh, sooner or later, I'll take up spiritual life. Sooner or later. Prabhupada said, better sooner. Do you know you have a later? Anybody here got a guarantee they got a later? Another time I was sitting in Prabhupada's room, and a man kept looking at his watch. He was obviously, they say at any religious function there's more women than men. So probably his wife, the Dharma Patni, the wife is the better half. So probably the wife dragged him to the temple, and he was just sitting there begrudgingly. And he kept looking at his watch. And Srila Prabhupada, who was extremely perceptive, Prabhupada said, so, what is the issue, sir? You seem very concerned or disturbed. And the man said, I have a very important appointment. Very important. Prabhupada's answer was, you have only one appointment in life, guaranteed, and you will not miss it. Anyone know what that appointment is? Some of our guests, in the back there. Sirs, do you know what that one appointment we're all guaranteed and will not miss? Do you know what it is? Anyone know back there? Back row? Who said it? Somebody said it. Death. Yudhisthira Maharaj, there's a whole section when Yudhisthira Maharaj is grilled by his father and Yamaraj in disguise. And Yamaraj asks, what is the most amazing thing in this world? Is it a 5G network? Is it that Coke is the real thing? What is the most amazing thing in this world? Anyone know? Yes. All around us, people are dying. But everybody thinks, oh, I won't die. There's a famous American poet, his name is William Carlos Williams, and he said, I knew that man was mortal, but I always thought an exception would be made for me. A man died 60 years old. Cerebral thrombosis, blood vessel blows in the brain, he dies. He goes before Maharaj. He says, hey, I want to file a complaint. Where's the complaint box? I don't recommend this as approach if you ever see Maharaj. But he said, I want to file a complaint. Where's the complaint box? Maharaj is very apologetic. No problem. What's the issue? The man said, well, I had no warning. I wanted to get my granddaughter married. I wanted to get my dimwit nephew out of my will. I had so many things I didn't give any warning. Maharaj was very apologetic. I gave so many warnings. I gave you a stick cane. I gave you gray hair. I gave you specs. So many warnings are there, and yet we just ignore it. So, it's serious matter. Who has a question? I'm scratched. When I say it, I don't care. Kids play, they can dance on my head, but because the message is important. Therefore, we want a serious atmosphere. Okay, who has a question? What brave soul? Oh, we're reading. All right. Okay. Are they feverish and scratching out some others? We have 3. Lest the Swami go off again. No, we don't want to do that. Swami eruption. Okay, good. Difference between faith and blind faith. He's asking, what's the difference between faith and blind faith? Well, what's the difference between jnana and vijnana? There's 2 Sanskrit terms. Jnana means knowledge. Vijnana means realized knowledge. Hey, what's with the kid? Ram, you're given a mission. You got to keep it quiet here. That's your job. Hey, find a house. He's in a young brahmachari. Find a house. No, it's not fair. It's not fair. I'm sympathetic with you. I raised 2 children. I know what it's like. I'm completely sympathetic with the kids and with the parents. I know what it's like. But somebody's got to say, hey, don't play here, play outside. Who's going to do it? It's a tough job. Who? They're arguing, and neither of them wants to do it. Who is our? May you have a long life and precious. You just explain politely. You say, the kid's not happy, you're not happy. Just you can play outside. It's all right. So, we have a parrot in San Diego. I don't have one of the householders. His name is Sukadev. It's true. And he's a gray African parrot. And they say the gray African parrots have the, intellect, aptitude, whatever, social awareness of about a 3 or 4-year-old. They're pretty smart birds. They live a long time too. So Sukadev can chant the whole Hare Krishna mantra. Oh yeah, Hare Krishna, Ram, Krishna Krishna, Ram. No, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He knows a ton of stuff. He knows about 6 verses in Bhagavad Gita. He's quite prolific. So we had, for Janmashtami, there's a little kids area, for kids. The Sukadev is there doing his thing, and we had a cow from our farm, a little baby calf. It's fun for the kids. This is at the San Diego Temple. We're right by the street. And so people are walking. And in America, everybody has a dog. It's man's best friend. No, it's true. It's the same. Let me ask you a question. They say in America, we're off the track, but we'll get back. Dog is a man's best friend. You ever heard this saying? Oh, it's a big saying in America. Anybody here raised on dog milk? You're not raised on dog milk. Oh, that would explain a lot, but why even have a question? No, we're raised on cow's milk. A cow is a man's best friend. If you're going to pick an animal that's your best friend, you're going to pick a cow, isn't it? A dog is a man's best friend. And there's a study, just as a side note, there was a study put out by a top hospital in Japan. It's a Japanese university in connection with Harvard Medical School. And dogs, dogs on average carry over 13 to 17 different types of diseases. They're one of the dirtiest things in the world. And in the West, they've got them in their bed, they snuggle. And it's happening in India too. It's happening in India. Oh, they're doing it in America. So, faith. So Sukadev can chant Hare Krishna. He was out there at Janmashtami. A dog came, a man was walking his big dog. The dog saw Sukadev, thinking, oh, tasty snack item. Lunged for Sukadev. Sukadev, by Krishna's grace, was in a cage, but did Sukadev, when he saw the dog coming for him, think like Mother Uttara? Pahi Pahi Mahayogin Deva Deva. No. Forgot all about, the Hare Krishna mantra. So, blind faith, you test, Chanakya Pandit says you test gold by rubbing. You've seen a stone, when they rub it, they can tell the caliber, whatever, the carat, 14 carat, 18 carat, 22 carat, whatever it is, by rubbing on the stone. So Chanakya Pandit says a person's character is tested in adversity, when you're in difficulty, that's when your character comes out. Prabhupada tells a story by, I'm a little tired. Who was Akbar's Birbal. Prabhupada tells a Birbal story. That there was a pundit, thanks, that's probably good enough. There was a pundit from a foreign land, and the pundit had the challenge, anyone who could guess where I was from. And one day he wore Punjabi style, and then Gujarati style, and the time, and he didn't have an accent with his Hindi, you couldn't tell he was from South, nobody could guess. So Akbar called on Birbal, can you find out where this man, what is his native tongue? That was the question, who can guess my native tongue, my native land? So Birbal disguised himself, walked past the man with a big heavy tray full of fruits, disguised as a servant, palace servant, pretended to trip, dropped the heavy brass tray on the man's foot. What happened? Hold! The man came right out in his language. What was in his heart came out. So, blind faith, okay, it's something. We have Shraddha, then we have Sadhusanga, then we have we take up devotional practices. There's so many different stages, Anarjana Vritti, Ruchi, there's so many stages you come to the point of prema. So to have faith is the beginning, that there is some supreme, there is a cause of all causes. This didn't all happen by chance. They call it in Western philosophy the either-or question. It is the bedrock question. The either-or question in Western philosophy. It's right up there with I think, we're done, next time. I think, therefore I am. The either-or question is, either everything happened by chance, by random combination of the laws of physics, some singularity and everything came out. As they say at MIT, give us one free miracle, we can explain the rest. Poof! It all came out by chance. And now it's going on by random laws of physics. Okay. That's one possibility. Either that everything happened by chance and is running on by random laws of physics, or there is an intelligent design. What the nature of that design is, what the nature of that intelligence is, that's another question. but there's actually an intelligent design before and behind existence. Now let me ask you a question. For building this temple, did Devaki just call by chance construction company? With that secret ingredient, dynamite? And did he put all the building material in one pile, kaboom, and it all blew with it? Everybody laughs. Come on, of course there was intelligence, there was design, there was a contractor, there were blueprints, there was a ton of intelligence went into creating this building. Even now, you're sitting here, if you came to the temple, deity doors weren't open, the lights were half off, the room wasn't clean, you'd say, who's in charge? Would you say that? What happened? Who's in charge here? It's not right. Wherever, this is our universal experience across the globe since time immemorial. It is as true as the sun will rise tomorrow. Wherever you see order, wherever you see pattern, wherever you see symmetry, there's intelligence behind it. Therefore, when we see pattern, intelligence, and design in this world, which we see all around us, what is the conclusion? There's intelligence behind it. Therefore, the either-or question is, if it all happened by chance, when I was a kid, we used to sing, what is it, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. You guys ever sing that, little kids? It's a ditty, it's a kid's ditty. Row, row, row your boat gently, what is it? Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. What if it's not a dream? What if at every action there's a reaction? That's a basic law of inertia. Every action is an equal and opposite reaction. So what if everything didn't happen by chance? What if there's actually design? What if every action I perform, there's a reaction? My son, he's grown up now. When he was a little boy, ATM machines first started to come into existence. ATM. Believe it or not, there was a pre-ATM. There was a pre-cell phone era. Shocking to let me see. So my son saw me take a card, push it in the machine. Ding, 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 ding. Money came out. He said, wow. He said, get me one of those. You know, just push it in, ding, 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 ding. Money comes out. It's like milking a cow. How can I get one? I said, no. I said, it doesn't work like that. I said, you have to work hard and put money in the bank. Then you can only take out what you put in. He said, oh, lost all interest. Everywhere else, I'm asking for seamless logic. That's my point. We're talking about blind faith. Blind faith is why I believe it because my grandmother told me, or because of this, I've always done it. We've always done it that way. Okay, that's of some value. But real knowledge, understanding, wait a minute. Either the world happened by chance or it didn't happen by chance. If it didn't happen by chance, then it happened by design. If it happened by design, then what is the nature? What is the relationship of whoever designed it? What's my relationship? Obviously, I'm dependent. If I'm dependent, how do I develop a relationship? How do I understand that absolute? Oh, I'm not going to take the kingdom of God by storm. How can, classic example, suppose, in addition to not coming with questions, somebody had poured glue on this seat, and I was glued to this seat. Some prankster. Don't try it. I thought always a cushion would get up with me and I could still get you. But anyway, suppose, in theory, I was glued to this seat, and I wanted to shake hands with you. Not yet, no, it's too loud, that's why I'm pushing. So, no. I am finite. I am limited in my extension. My intellect, my sense perception. I can get a microscope. Okay, if you take imperfection and create an imperfect object, a microscope, then I have imperfection times imperfection. Will I get imperfection times imperfection times imperfection? Will that give me perfection? Come on, I mean everybody knows that. So, I'm finite. Whatever objects I have, I can go down to, I have the atom smasher, whatever that thing's called, it's got a long name, but, so I can understand the smallest particle, or out, and I've got electric, I send it out by satellite, whatever it is, I can understand the reaches of the universe. So ultimately, I'm limited. I may extend that limit, but ultimately I'm limited. So, I'm limited by this young man. Possible or impossible? Is it possible to shake hands? I can go no further than this. That's a priori, that's established fact, axiomatic fact. Can I shake hands with him? No. We have no advocates, okay. It's a trick question. Do we have any yes advocates? Oh, well, let's ask the man himself. Show me. It's a visual. Then it becomes very easy. Thank you. Glad you're here. If the infinite takes the initiative, then the finite and the infinite can meet. But it is revelatory. He has to come to me. I cannot take the kingdom of God by storm. We will not be able to do. Well, we've made advancement. Look at all the advancement we made. Previously, we didn't have this. We didn't have nanotechnology. We've made so much advancement. Come on. People were dying of typhoid. They were dying of bubonic plague. They were dying of polio. We've conquered these diseases. And if we just continue, eventually, we will stand on the shoulders of giants and understand everything. That's the presentation, and it is full of hot air like a chapati. And I'll tell you why. I'll give you a simple example. In 1930, the pole jumping, Olympics, high jumpers, pole jumping. I don't know what it was. Let's pick a number. You can Google it when you go. But just put in a space keeper there. Place number. 13 feet. Okay. Now they've improved, with fiber poles and Nike shoes and I don't know what else. I think it's up to 16 feet, 18 feet, 22 feet. I mean, that's a significant. They never thought they could break the 4-minute mile. Couldn't be done. Humanly impossible. Now they break the 4-minute mile all the time, isn't it? Yeah. So, but are we ever going to get anyone who can jump to the moon? Come on, just get a better pole, get a better shoe. We all accept that there's limits. There's a range of improvement, but ultimately there is a finite limit. In the same way, our empiric search for truth has finite limits. Our sages, our sadhus, our Goswamis, they are not sentimentalists. They don't believe it because, my grandmother told me. But they, taking the Bhagavatam as their lab book, and experiencing in their ashrams, taking up the principles. Some people said, well, I chanted Hare Krishna, nothing happened to me. You ever hear that? I chanted Hare Krishna. We hear it in the West all day. One man said to Prabhupada, this chanting is just brainwashing. Prabhupada's classic answer, if the brain is dirty, shouldn't you wash it? It's great, it's a classic answer. It's a classic answer. So, they need a lot of brainwashing in the West. So, what was I going to say? So, people say in the West, well, I chanted Hare Krishna, nothing happened to me. Fine. If you want to make a small discovery in one field in science, insignificant, we've got a guy, a very nice man, Rupa Manohar was his name. He's initiated the Buddha Badrinarayan Maharaj. And he is studying the way a special type of laser beam goes through a particular type of crystal at a certain speed. Now there's a lot of conditions in there, And in order for him to be in that field of crystal technology, well, he went to 12 years of elementary school, or whatever, 6 years elementary, at least in the West, so many years in middle school, we call it, then in high school, then you have to go to college, undergrad, then you have to get a Bachelor of Science, then you have to get a PhD. We're not anti-science, don't get me wrong. I'm alive by modern medical science. But we joke, you know what PhD stands for? Piled higher and deeper. Just buried under irrelevant facts. Or PhD can stand for permanent head damage. Or it can stand for prominent humility disorder. So, a PhD used for the right purpose, fine, great, no problem. And within its limits, what was I going to say? Oh, so, I can't write Christian didn't do anything for me. I didn't see Christian. Well, did you invest to become expert, to even be allowed to write a scientific journal for peer review? You had to invest, what is it, 6 and 2, so 10 and 4 is 14 and 2 is 16. You had to invest something like 17 years of serious education, isn't it? And if you want to get a PhD, you have to have a mentor, and you have to be their what is it, clerk, cello? You have to be their clerk, isn't it? You have to do whatever they say. They have to sign off on your paper. You have to basically be a disciple in order to get your PhD. You give us someone who spends 17 years in the ashram, seriously chanting the 16 rounds, following the regular principles, engaging in service of the Vaishnavas and Bhakti Seva. They're going to have deep realizations. So don't tell me, oh, I checked my Krishna and I didn't have any result. You put in as much to be allowed to have a PhD and play on the scientific field. You put in the same amount of concentration in the field of Bhakti, and you will have deep realizations. In South Africa, under apartheid, we could not, what time is it? We could not be the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We had to be the South African Society for Krishna Consciousness. And they were very worried about foreign agents, CIA, what is the other one? Amnesty International, civil rights groups, and rightly so. They were worried about them coming in and secretly doing reports and pulling the cover off the horrible system of apartheid. So the government, it's a true story, South African government sent 2 agents, 22 years old, 24 years old, to live in the temple secretly for 6 months. It's true. Maybe it was 6 months or a year. It was a long period of time. Shave their head, because to slip in, you got to get with the program, right? You got to get up for the Mangalarti, you get it. So I think it was a year. I think it was actually a year, but whatever. Some substantial amount of time they were living in the ashram, doing everything they know, and taking notes and checking. Is this a political operation? Are they a threat to the current South African government? Are they calling for a revolution? What's up? So after their fixed period of time, 6 months to a year, they reported back to the South African government. And they said, we've studied them carefully. They're not interested in politics. They're on a much higher plane, and they're concerned about the salvation of the soul. No problem, no problem. And we're resigning our government commission. And moving in. They joined the ashram. They're full on their initiative. So, blind faith is okay, but we don't want to be like Sukadev, because at the time of death, everything's challenged. We want to have a firm understanding. We want to understand what is Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada tells us we want to understand. If I look at a plate of food, it looks good. And obviously prashadam. But if I look at a plate of prashadam and it looks good, we had this happen one time. Okay, the plate looks a nice, luscious plate of halava. Put some whipped cream on top. nice wood frame on top, and a chair. Looks good. You tuck it. It looks good, doesn't it? Does it necessarily taste good? You don't know one way or the other. We had a cook who one time, instead of sugar, used salt. Now you tuck into that, what happened, you know? So when you actually experience it, when you taste it, then it becomes realized knowledge. Looks good is theoretical knowledge. Faith. Actual experience. When you taste it, it becomes realized knowledge. Proverbs of the Morning Walk, I was there, Detroit, Michigan. Just out of the blue, Prophet took us walking quiet, turned to all of us and said, put his cane down, said, I know you're all atheists, but there really is Krishna. And turned right around and kept walking. It's a pretty far out moment. Prabhupada's story about blind faith, then we'll take another question. There was a Brahmin, he has a number of them, but here's one of them. There was a Brahmin who went down to the Ganga, let's say at Varanasi or Kasi or whatever it was, Banaras. Thank you, Ramon. Good for you. Yeah, I'm talking about you. So all the Brahmins, they do their puja to Mother Ganga, and then they go down and take their dip. But you've got 100 Brahmins. Everybody gets their puja trays mixed up, you know? So one Brahmin thought, I'm tired of this. So before he went down to his dip, took a little ball of clay, just put it on his tray, like a different part. You know, I was going to put a ball of clay off my mic, no problem, right? Good idea. He goes down, he takes a dip, he comes back, all the other trays have balls of clay on them. Because all the other smartest thought, oh, he must know some puja that we don't know. I don't want to not know. Put a little ball of clay there. No idea what it meant. Because they didn't want to be outsmarted by another Brahmin. So they just put their ball of clay. So this kind of thing goes on, blind following and blind faith. And when it's tested, there's a Christian bumper sticker. God is good to me now. It's all over, you see all over America. God is good to me now. What? He wasn't good to you before. God is all good, absolute. Krishna's covering this into his Dinabandhu. Every activity performed by Krishna, whatever it is all good, absolute. In the divine scheme of things, whatever happens for our reformation of the soul that takes us back to Godhead, and if Krishna has to have the material nature smack us around, that is all good. But they're thinking, because I won the lottery, now God is good to me. But God is all good. So unless one has deep knowledge, blind faith will not suffice. Okay, next question in the pile. We'll end before 900 minutes. How to sustain spirituality in very tough, adverse situations, even when situations seem great. These are both nice questions, by the way. It's often quite easy. I think I was talking to a Bainam about this, that we can see Krishna's mercy working in someone else's life. Some brahmacharis, super puffed up. I mean, it happens sometimes, and the temple commander chastises him, or something happens, and he's reduced to his, like a big chapati, hot air comes out. And we can say, that was Krishna's mercy. It was good for you, right? So when other people go through a difficult time, it's quite easy often to say, that's Krishna's mercy. But when it happens to us, hey, wait a minute, some karmic fluke here, So we should have a little faith that as we can see Krishna's mercy in other people's lives, but they can't see it. Also, what is happening in our life is Krishna's mercy. Now, looking back, I have gone through, as anyone who's lived long enough, I've gone through some difficult moments in my Krishna consciousness. I've had some tough tough times. I went through the Zolachari days. I had a marriage blow up in my face, and I was left with 2 young children. I mean, I've had some, Krishna, why have you done this? Well, I'll say something else later. But in hindsight, now that I've survived, I look back and see Krishna's mercy. Thank you, Krishna. At the time, where is God? Have you forgotten your dark night of the soul? Why have you done this to me? Krishna, after all I've done for you, you've done this to me? Why? We've all had it. If you haven't had a moment like that, you're going to have a bunch more. And on that happy note, class over. No. How? When you're, we don't do it, but lifting weights, there's pain. Or when you go jogging, after any strenuous exercise, there is some pain. They say, feel the burn. Have you ever heard that? Feel the burn. Feel the pain. No pain, no gain. What is that pain? What's actually happening? Let's say for the muscles. What's actually happening? Anybody know? Come on. Hey. This guy's got 2 for 2. Let's get somebody else get in the game. No, I appreciate it. He's probably out. If nobody else gets it, I'll call on you. What's happening with the muscles when you feel that pain? Raise your hand. Yeah, what's up? It becomes more stronger, but why? What's the physiological process that's happening? Tearing. Who said tearing? Yeah, the muscle tears. You're right. No, you're not wrong. You're right. The muscle tears, and that's the pain. And then when it regrows, when it heals, it's stronger. So by the tearing and by the pain, the result is it becomes stronger. I certify that every painful, difficult circumstance I went through in my life, was Krishna's mercy. And whatever advancement I have made much more advancement by going through difficult situations and weathering the storm. Because you have to pray, you have to think, people love to see in black and white, especially Indian brahmacharis. They like to see everything fit in a little box, and I can cut it in a square, and it fits in a box, and this is truth, and that is not truth. But the world does not work like that. Now, what was I going to say? Anyway, they'll come back to me later on. Challenges, difficulties are actually Krishna's mercy. So, that's what I was going to say. This doesn't mean, devotees ask Prabhupada, if a devotee is fearless, why do we wear seatbelts? That's one of those, trust me, as a sannyasi, you get that kind of question. Stump the Swami. Hey, if we're fearless, why do we wear seatbelts? You know what Prabhupada's answer was? Devotees are fearless, but they're not fools. Bahulasva, very nice devotee. He was the president of the Chicago Temple. He was in Vrindavan. Prabhupada was saying Gayatri. So he wanted to say, with Prabhupada and Vrindavan, Karti, he wanted to say the perfect Gayatri. So he's there. Om Bhur Swa. Prabhupada went through his, usually took about 4 minutes for Prabhupada to chant his Gayatri. So Prabhupada finished his Gayatri, and Bahulas was still, way back. So what to do? So he zipped past his Gayatri and ran up to catch up with Prabhupada on his walk. His shoes were over there. He wanted to catch up with Prabhupada, so he just ran to Prabhupada without his shoes. And if you know the layout of the Krishna Balaram temple, Prabhupada would first walk on now it's Bhaktivedanta Marg, but the government road, the asphalt road. Prabhupada walked down, then cut down and come onto the parking path. So, they're walking on the government road, all the gravel, rocks, sticks. Bahulasva runs up. Prabhupada looks at him. Prabhupada didn't miss him. It was like the translation of Sherlock Holmes. If you didn't want Prabhupada to see something, he was right on it. I can tell you a ton of stories about some of this. But anyway, Bahulasva comes running up. Prabhupada says, no, Prabhupada was a kind person, most kind. But even in small things, Prabhupada said, where are your shoes? You know, it's early in the morning, it's the disciples running on the shoe, without shoes. Where are your shoes? Bahalasra said, oh, Prabhupada, when I'm with you, you're beyond the modes of nature, and by association with you, you're like a lotus, and I'm above, this whole poetic something. Prabhupada just cut him off. Prabhupada said, there's enough difficulty in life without inventing it. Go get your shoes. Prabhupada waited. Prabhupada just waited. He went and got his shoes, and then they went on the walk, So, if we can amend the situation, I'm not just saying walk out in the snow and freeze. I'm not saying, don't, if the khichdi's burnt, then just eat all the burnt khichdi and get sick. I'm not saying, Krishna's mercy. I'm not saying that. We used to think, I just made me think of it. When I was a bhakta, I'm still trying to be a bhakta actually, but when I was trying to be a bhakta initially in Los Angeles, we used to think that if you thought too much, if you were planning too much, you were getting in the way of the super soul. You were trying to be the controller. So if we went out on on Harinam and we forgot the books, Krishna must want us to chant all day. If we forgot the instruments, he must want us to distribute books. I swear to you, if we ran out of gas, thinking that E stands for eternal, if we ran out of gas somewhere, we're in the middle of a cow field, Krishna must want us to preach to someone here. Krishna's brought us here. There must be some soul woman. We had our Sankirtan leader. He's passed away, actually. His name was Badrinarayan. Such a nice devotee. College graduate, USC, good school. It just didn't feel right with him. He was a smart guy. He thought, we're trying to use Krishna's time. Shouldn't we be intelligent in how to use Krishna's time as wisely as possible, So this happened a lot. He asked Prabhupada, this is the background, the framing of the question. He didn't quite get the question out right. He didn't frame it just right, but Prabhupada could see where we were trying to go. So he asked Prabhupada, what does it mean to surrender? That was the question he asked Prabhupada. Prabhupada, but within that context, unstated, but within that context. So what does it mean to surrender? Prabhupada said surrender means to use your intelligence. So we use our intelligence. We're not just masochists lining ourselves up with difficulty. We try to, we want to alleviate the difficulty for devotees, alleviate the adibhautigadi dadagadi. We turn a fan on, doesn't mean. But that which we cannot change, that which, in spite of the best reasonable effort, we can't alter, that suffering which falls on us, we then think, what is happening here? What lesson can I learn from this? Why has Krishna put me in this situation? How can I become Krishna conscious? How can I use this situation as an impetus for becoming more Krishna conscious? And in that way, knowledge is compared to shoes. It's compared to a lamp, we could go a bow, compared to so many things knowledge is compared to. A sword. Why is knowledge compared to shoes? One size fits all? No. If you get the wrong answer, I've already got my anger out of my system for chastising for no questions. Yes sir. Right on target. If you try to walk on a rocky path without shoes, sticks, how will you walk? You put shoes on, you can cross easily. Anyone who's lived long enough, when in Western medicine, when the baby is born, what is the first thing they do when the baby comes out of the womb? Smack. You know why? Well, because they want them to cry, because they want to get the fluid out of there. This baby comes out, smack. First thing they have to get the baby to cry. I mean, that's what they do in the West. I'm imagining, because otherwise the child doesn't fill up the lungs. You come out of the womb, welcome to this world. What is the first thing that you get as your welcoming gift? Do you get puja? Do you get nice arti, Shanai band? Smack! And it just keeps on going. That's welcome to the, that's the first of many smacks in this world. So, but if you have shoes of knowledge, how to see through the eyes of Shastra, then you can travel the road of life without difficulty. You think, like the other day I said, when Prabhupada was chastised by that crazy man, Prabhupada said, I must have offended him in a previous life, he's come to take his revenge. Prabhupada was not disturbed. So, like rivers enter into the ocean, and yet the ocean doesn't remain a precious example in Bhagavad Gita. So, we are not risk and difficulty adverse. If we act under is it a quadratic equation where you graph it, you get 2 points, and if the third point falls on the line, it confirms it. Is that? I think that. Try to remember my algebra. If you want to know if something's true, then you draw a line. Guru, Shastra, Sadhu. You connect that line, and if it falls on the line of Guru, Shastra, Sadhu, then it's true. You know that it's true. So we follow Guru, Shastra, Sadhu. And if difficulty comes and I can't avoid it, I see it as Krishna's mercy. And what can I learn from it? And in this way, at every moment, one's life is fruitful. One doesn't become bitter. And the other thing is, there's so many, you've heard it a million times, but we have to keep good association. You have to keep good association. Don't stay with people who, Jayananda, who Prabhupada certified as an American saint. It's certified. Prabhupada said, Jayananda, you put his picture on all the Ratha Yatras, he's a certified saint. I am proud to have such a disciple. I spent time with Jayananda. Not much, but I spent someday we'll give a class on Jayananda. You criticize other devotees. You complain that all of a sudden you look at Jayananda, he's gone. Where'd Jayananda go? He didn't have time for it. He just didn't have time for it. So we want good association. We want to, if I'm running in a race, how do I train for a race? If I'm running in the Olympics, you try to run with somebody who's faster than you, because it'll pull out more. If you're challenged, it'll pull out more. Don't run with somebody who's slow, because you'll beat them every time, and you'll stay at that level. So we want to seek out people who are more advanced than us, who will pull us forward. Then we'll make good advancement. So keep good association. Everything is there. Rupa Goswami, all these questions have been asked and answered. I had a blissful experience in Chicago. Darshan, let's look it up. So many people were there, not so many, maybe 30 people in the room. People were asking questions. Prabhupada said, Nectar Devotion, this chapter, section such and such, read the section. It was the answer to the question. Somebody asked another question. Prabhupada said, Bhagavad Gita, verse such and such, read the purport. It was the answer. Somebody asked another question. Prabhupada said, Srimad Bhagavatam, such and such, verse, read the purport. It was the answer. And Prabhupada went on for about 25 minutes. It must have been 6 or 7 questions. I was amazed how well Prabhupada knew his books. And I was also, and the point Prabhupada was trying to make to us, is everything's in my books. You just read my books, everything's there. How is they enthusiastic? Anyone know Upadeshamrita, second verse? Oh, third verse. What is the third verse of Upadeshamrita? What does Rupa, word Rupa Nukas? It's not a new question, it's a good question. It's not a new question. What did Rupa Nuka say? How did Rupa Goswami, what did he say? Yeah, Utsaha, Nishchayadaya, Tattva Karma, it's all there. And Prabhupada said of the 3, Utsaha, enthusiasm, patience, and determination. Just read it. And that combination probably gives so many wonderful examples coming from Goswamis, coming from his spiritual master. If we keep in good association, and we read Prabhupada's books, and we chant nice japa. I mean, I cannot tell you. I confirmed it yesterday, day before yesterday with Hari Sari. Prabhupada told Upendra told Hari Sari Prabhu confirmed it with Prabhupada. Prabhupada said it took me 30 years to perfect my chanting. I mean, it'll take me 30 lifetimes, that's another story. But Prabhupada worked on how to chant the holy name, how to hear the holy name. Rupa Goswami says, you know, when it enters my ears, I wish I had unlimited ears. And when it dances on my tongue, I wish I had unlimited tongues. And when the holy name enters in the core of my heart, the mind is conquered and the senses are inert. Perfection of samadhi. Just by hearing, drinking the holy name. So we chant seriously. I mean, you've heard it, but I was in Prabhupada's room. A man was asking, I mean, he's in the LA temple, this question, that question. Prabhupada was saying, just chant. The man said, but my mind, my this, my that. And I said, Prabhupada said, just chant seriously. But then my family, Prabhupada said, just chant seriously. Finally, Prabhupada said, this is our only medicine, take it. It's our only medicine, take it, because it works. Chant 16 minimum nice rounds in the morning and tentatively to the best of our ability. Read Prabhupada's books an hour a day. Everybody's got an hour a day. If you don't, get up a little earlier, go to bed a little bit earlier, take your prasad a little faster. It's there. And good association. And you'll go back to God in no time. I was sitting in Prabhupada's room. Prabhupada said it in class. Prabhupada, this is Henry Street, New York City. Prabhupada said, chant 16 rounds, minimum. Follow the regular principles. Serve the Vaishnavas. And you will go back to Godhead in this life. Later on, Darshan in the afternoon, Jayadvaita Swami Brahmachari at the time, asked the question we were all thinking, said, you know, Prabhupada, you said, anyone, 16 rounds a day, follows the regular principles, serves the Vaishnavas, and you'll see Krishna face to face in this lifetime. Prabhupada said, in this lifetime, why not? So that is the potency that's lying within the simple but sublime instructions we've received. So just follow. It's not the most difficult thing in the world. Use it. Prabhu. I don't mean to embarrass you, but help me out. Would you please stand up? I won't hurt you, don't worry. Would you please touch your nose? Oh, no, sit down, sit down. Would you please stand up and touch your nose? Touch your nose. No. Do you know this one about? Abide, touch your nose. Do it the way I'm joking. Yeah. Why? You guys are right. I'm just joking with you, you know. Just touch your nose. But we make everything so complicated. Kali Yuga, you just follow. It's the most difficult thing to do. Just follow. What's the problem? Okay, one more question. We'll see how we do that. How to remain focused in the world of temptations. These are very nice questions. Prabhupada said, I was a young devotee. I am. There's a t-shirt in America. There's some of these t-shirts I love. One of them says, instant idiot. Just add alcohol. And they actually wear it. They wear it. Instant idiot. Just add alcohol. You know, when they're down there. We're off the track. Prabhupada saved my son. When my son went to, in so many ways, but when my son went to school, all of his buddies, you know, in college, they're all, you know, pizza and beer. So they offered him beer. He had heard Prabhupada on a tape say that when Prabhupada was in college, they offered Prabhupada a glass of beer. And you know beer, it's that yellowish amber color. It has that foam on top, right? Someone offered it to Prabhupada. Prabhupada looked at it and said, "It smells like horse urine." Prabhupada said, "Why would I want to drink horse urine, you know?" So my son is in college, because it never happened. He's, you know, living with me and like that, right? But he goes to college, somebody says, "Hey, want a beer?" He looked at it, he thought it's so, you know, associated. He said, "It looks like horse urine." And the best part of it, the guy who offered the beer says, "Oh, now you spoiled it for me," and put it down, you know. Prabhupada ki jai. So they have another saying in America, there's no fixing stupid. There's no fixing stupid. You can teach, you can train, you can give example, but if somebody's just got to bring a cow down, hey, take prashadam next time around, you know. So we have to be intelligent in answer to how to avoid temptation. In the ultimate issue, Prabhupada said, give all good instructions on the ground. All good. I mean, sure, you know, don't eat sweets after a certain time. If you're a brahmachari, there's a whole number of things, you know. Don't ever look at a woman in the face. There's all kinds of things that you can do that help, you know. Don't eat grains after 4. I mean, you know, there's a whole series of things. But in the ultimate issue, you have to be smart. You just have to be smart. Prabhupada gave this example. Suppose I invite you to my house, and I open the door, and I say, come to my house for prashadam. We're going to break Ekadasi at my house. Come on over to my house. And what do you like? And you say, oh, samosas, kachoris, rasgulla, filet. Okay, give me a whole menu. And you come to my house, I open the door, and you see there's a beautiful sitting area, nice cushions, someone to fan you, and you see that laid out is every prep that you could possibly dream of. And you're a young man. Prabhupada said, young man means hungry. You know? It's just like, you could wake up in trap. But, you know, there's a number of, anyway. Young man is hungry, Brahmana. You work hard for Krishna. You have a right to be hungry, you know? You work hard for Krishna. Prabhupada said, if you work like a bird, eat like a bird. If you work like a horse, you can eat like a horse. Prabhupada said, you work hard enough, you can digest a stone. So young men, they work hard for Krishna. You're hungry. Take prashadam. Don't be in anxiety about it. There's nothing more than you can digest. So anyway, you see this feast. You're hungry. Everything you can dream. You hear, they're chanting already. Srila Vijaja. You're just in time. And all of a sudden, you see behind the door is a man with a big stick. And he is going to beat you to a pulp as soon as you come in that room. Do you go in that room? Well, wait, all those nice snacks are there. They're very tempting. But you think, hey, it's not worth it. I know what's going to happen. So they have a saying in America, walk yourself down the road. We don't have time to tell a number of stories, but walk yourself down the road. If I surrender to sense gratification, what happens? If Krishna nails it, of course, he's Krishna, source of all knowledge. If you throw wood on a fire, this wood, I've got a few more minutes. My parents used to take our family camping, my older brother, my older sister, and me, and we would go camping, you know, just for fun, out camping by lakes and pretty scene, right? So we would go. I was 4, just turned 4, so my brother would be 8. My sister was off doing something. So we'd seen my father the night before make a little campfire. You make a little campfire, you roast a little snack. Yeah, when it's kid time. So my brother and I, who my father used to call us, my older brother and me, fool number 1, fool number 2. He used to also say 2 half-wits make a nitwit. You know, the 2 of us, we always were getting into trouble. So, Prabhupada said, fool number 1, I heard Prabhupada also say this, fool number 1, fool number 2. Fool number 1 is the one who has many foolish plans. And fool number 2 is the one who enthusiastically executes them. So my brother and I were certified fool number 1, fool number 2, certified. So we'd see my father make a little fire. So we thought, hey, that looks, we're kids, oh, that looks like fun. So we started a little fire, got the thing going, right? My parents were meanwhile down by the lake with their backs turned to us. They were reading, they liked to read, so they were sitting by the peaceful, that all the kids are. All of a sudden, it started growing, the fire started getting bigger and bigger. And we had the wherewithal, hey, we don't want to let this thing get out of control, right? We don't want to burn down the whole hole, better put it out. So I'd seen my father throw water on the fire. A small fire, threw water, put it out. Okay, I got the principle. I ran over, saw a container of clear liquid. I couldn't read, at least long words. I didn't notice that it said gasoline, petrol, on the can, gasoline. I didn't know. So I came with clear liquid A, clear liquid B, what could go wrong? Threw it on the fire. It's a true story. Threw it on the fire, poured it out in the pan, threw a big pan on it. Now, 2 things happened sequentially. I know the English language, I'm choosing my words carefully. 2 things happened sequentially. What you're thinking of is the second thing that happened. Does anyone know the first thing? Small fire, threw a bunch of gasoline on it. What's the first thing that happened? Yes, wait. Exactly so. Exothermic, endothermic, I forget the chemistry of the thing. But the gasoline for a millisecond cut off the oxygen to the fire. So for a second, it went out. So my brother and I was thrown there, solve that problem. Kaboom! Fireball! It lit, I swear, it broke my eyebrows off. My poor parents, they heard this explosion, see this fireball coming up from our campsite, see my brother and I running as fast as we can in the other direction, So, if you add fuel to the fire, it does not put the fire out. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, lust burns like fire and... What's the rest of the verse? Burns like fire and is... Help me out. Never satisfied. It's never satisfied. The whole world, everything we see outside of spiritual life is sawed off at the knees by that simple statement by Krishna. Because it's all driven by the principle that I get more, new, better, refined, different place, different body, different angle, it will solve my problem. But it's simply chewing the chewed and adding fuel onto the fire. So we have to just be smart. We have to think, I walk in that door, I'm going to be kicked, I mean, there's so many things. Oh, I go on Sankirtan and there's a pretty girl there and sometimes she'll buy a book. So I don't want to go to Sankirtan spot B, I'll go to Sankirtan spot C where she is, and I'll get to talk to this pretty girl. I mean, the mind does far out things. The mind is all, if I cut the fruit up for the 4 o'clock offering, that pretty girl in there is making the garlands. And, I mean, we have to watch the mind. The mind is not our friend. Krishna says, the mind that's controlled is the best of friends. The mind that's uncontrolled is the worst of friends. So you have to be wary, this thing will turn on me at any minute. What is it, Raghunath Goswami? Oh, mind, thou art no friend of mine. You're not a devotee. So, to answer your question, we have to be smart. You have to understand this isn't really going to satisfy me. It's going to create all kinds of miseries. It's going to complicate my life. Let me just stay on the simple, straight, and narrow. And over time, I assure you, I am far from being a pure devotee of Krishna. When people say, I appreciate the respect. When they say His Holiness, His Holiness, whatever, I'm always very embarrassed by that. And I've worked it out in my mind how to accept it. I'm full of holes. Like a narcissist, I'm full of holes. So His Holiness, yes, He who is full of holes, I accept. And this way I can accept that title. So I'm far from a pure devotee. But I can tell you this much. I'm 66 years old, and sex desire, I'm not tempting fate, I'm not tempting the interlocutor, they please be kind on me. But I just don't want it. I don't want it anymore. I just don't. I would much rather chant the holy name. And I don't want to get remarried and, and get a big fancy car and work hard. I don't want it. I don't want it anymore. I've had it. I've had it in this lifetime or that lifetime. I've been the Lord Brahma. I've had a solid gold Cadillac. I've been, and it has never satisfied me. Let me give this life to Krishna. Why chase after what is not going to satisfy me? It's going to produce so much misery. I've had it in previous lives and it didn't do it for me. Why not give this one life to Krishna? And it gets easier. I assure you, because I'm speaking to you, you're young men, it gets easier. Just chant, you don't think, oh my God, I gotta get up again, and then it's Mangala. You think, I want to get up. You want to get up. I mean, the body, I'm an old man, it's ask a lie, it's a trip getting this thing up. But I want to get up. I want to go see the deities. I don't want to be a servant of this crazy mind. This crazy mind has green coconut kachoris, only because it's a classic Prabhupada story. A man goes to a wedding. At a wedding, there's different audiences. The groom is thinking, oh, she looks just like Sita. The bride is thinking, oh, he's as strong as Ram. The mother is thinking, I hope the boy is noble, so we'll have good grandchildren of noble character. The father is thinking, I hope that guy can make some money and take good care of her. What is everyone else thinking? When do we eat? So this man sits at the wedding, he sits down to eat, and they're serving green coconut kachoris. Evidently, there's a type of Bengali kachori with green coconut fried with slices and a special type of date tamarind chutney. Naka. A lot of work to make, super tasty. There's only one drawback. You eat too many and it causes horrible indigestion, like you've been stabbed in your side with a knife. Guy sits down, hey, look at this, they're serving green coconut kachoris. His mind says, hey, when was the last time you saw green coconut kachoris, my friend? Jump on that. That takes a minute. Then the mind says, hey, when are you going to see green coconut kachoris? That was so tasty, when are you going to see him again? So to pacify the mind, which is pounding on him, have one. The guy says, he has a green coconut, that's another kachori. And the mind says to him, two's an inauspicious number, better you have three. So you get this boing, just will you shut up this time? He takes three. Then they come around again, the mind says, hey, you've had three. You've thrown caution to the wind. Have one more. You're just to pacify the mind. 1, 2, 3, 4, all to pacify them, to be the best friend possible of the mind. The guy goes home, puts his head on his pillow, he's dreaming of green coconut kachoris. And about 1 o'clock at night, oh my gosh, he's got a horrible pain in his side from indigestion. And the same mind who, by trying to serve, put the poor guy in this condition, the cause of the man's condition, that mind says, you fool, what you eat so many for? This is the nature of the mind. It's the nature, it's Prabhupada's story, it's the nature of the mind. So, be intelligent. Walk down the road. See the causality. If I do A, then I'm contemplation, attachment develops. When attachment comes anger, frustration. Anger comes what? Bewilderment of memory. The memory is bewildered. Memory falls into material. I left anger out there somewhere, but it's a progression. Krishna gives you a progression. Prabhupada describes, go home today. tomorrow, when you have some, do a Google search on the Rudra principle. It's great. Prabhupada mentions it in several places, and how anger, how it wells up, how you can feel it coming, you know, in the breathing, in the fists, Prabhupada has a whole description. Rudra principle is anger after frustration. And when you feel it coming, feel it, wait a minute, I'm falling under the influence of the Rudra principle. How to get out of it? I mean, it's there in Prabhupada's books. So my simple point is, be intelligent. Walk down the road. Where is this going to lead ultimately? And do I want Krishna or do I want this? Chanakya Pandit says, never give up the permanent for the temporary. I'm going to say it again. Never give up the permanent for the temporary. You will lose both. The temporary you're going to lose anyway. I should give up the permanent, Krishna consciousness, Krishna's lotus feet, the taste of the holy name. I should give that up for some Mataji with ankle bells, or I don't even pick on women, or some, you know, gulab jamun. Or we had a guy, I swear to you, we really do. We had a man, a bhakta. Welcome to America. And it's not easy preaching in America. I mean, some things are wonderful, but some things are difficult. This is in the South, in the South America is not like South India. Trust me. It is about as far from South India as you can get. Just to give you an example so you understand this. Anyway, I'll because of time. We had a guy who moved into the temple. Got up in the morning, was doing everything, you know, was with us for about 6 weeks. He seemed happy. He seemed happy, you know. And then you know how it happens. It was just somehow he was gone one day. So we were on Harinam some weeks later, and I saw him. His name was Raul. I said, Raul. He said, hey, Raul, what happened? You know, we miss you. We said, did you have a problem with the philosophy? No problem with the philosophy. I said, you know, did someone treat you improperly? Or, no. I said, was it too austere? I mean, you know, was there, if it's something we can remedy, well, you know, what was the problem? You know why he left the ashram? He could not give up pickled, barbecued, pig's ear sandwiches. I'm going to say that again. Pickled, barbecued, pig's ear sandwiches. It is a delicacy, so called that you take a pig's ear, you let it rot in a saline solution, you take it out, you dry it, you smear meat sauce and chili on it, and you barbecue it. You stick it between 2 pieces of bread. Yum. And because of that taste, the taste of a pickled, barbecued pig's ear sandwich, he gave up Krishna's lotus feet. But we laugh at that example. Dhruva Maharaj says, I was looking for broken glass, and I have found the priceless jewel. That's what's happening with us. We give up Krishna. Do I want Krishna's lotus feet? Or do I want some paltry, petty things, you know? And William, it gets easier. Stay with it, Prabhus. I went to my high school reunion, just for fun. The devotees convinced me. I went like this. I hadn't seen these people, by Krishna's grace, in, you do the math, well, what is it? 50 years, something like 50 years, I hadn't seen them. I had been close to this man in high school. I had not seen him since. He had become a millionaire many times over. He owed like 7 or 8 car dealerships, a bunch of real estate, so many things. I just knew about it, you know. He's a big guy in that area, California. He came up to me, he said, can I talk to you alone? I said, sure. Let's go. So we, you know, because everybody's doing whatever they're doing, I was happy to. He said to me, you know, he said, when you joined the Hare Krishna movement, I was 17, he was 17. He said, I thought you had lost your mind. I thought you'd taken some drug and just had a psychotic break. I could, because there's no tradition, you don't become a monk in America. It just doesn't happen. said, couldn't understand it. He said, I was actually going to come to the temple and drag you out, try to convince you to leave. But our fellow friends had already tried that and told him, forget it, he's too far gone. Don't never get him out. He said, but now, he said, I've managed to get everything I wanted in life. He was on his third wife. He was 66. He's had a 40-year-old wife, which Chanakya Pandit says is death. But anyway, he had a beautiful trophy wife, house by the sea, right down to the beach, a garage full of brand new different types of cars. He was telling me. He said, I grabbed life with both hands. And then he said, and he almost cried. He really literally had tears in his eyes. He said, but happiness has gone right through my fingers. He's a smart guy. I grabbed life with both hands, but happiness has gone right through my fingers. He asked me, he said, you did the right thing. He'd come to congratulate me. He said, you did the right thing. And then he said, he's sincere. He said, is it too late for me? So I've got to read Srimad Bhagavatam. I've got to read Bhagavatam. I've got to chant japa. Let's see. But the point is, I've lived long enough to see the difference. There's probably poetry. So, as Robert Frost, two paths diverged in the forest. I took the one less traveled, and that has made all the difference. Two paths diverged. I took the one less traveled, and that has made all the difference. We have taken the path less traveled, and it will make all the difference. You will look back and think, Krishna's mercy. It gets easier, and by the time you get to my stage, you will wake up every morning and say, thank you, Prabhupada, thank you, Krishna. And my life means something. You'll have done something with your life. Okay? So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Glory to God.
difficult.